should play have stopped when Alexis McAllister went down with this head injury before Manchester United's opening goal against Liverpool? Straight to you, Dermot.
Well, if you watch it, it's a decision. Michael, is there a foul? No, because it's Van Dijk who comes in behind McAllister. Michael looks at it, he assesses no foul. Play goes on. It goes on very, very quickly. It breaks, so he's forced to break with it, and the assistant's forced to break with it. So neither of them actually see McAllister behind them. Within 5 seconds, it's in the net. The first time they see McAllister down is when the ball's in the net. That's the first time they can go back. Yeah. So it's just an unfortunate incident.
It was two teammates clashing together as well. But look, should play not have stopped, Jay?
I think where the referee was, I don't think he could actually see the contact. When I initially see this, I just thought, to be honest, I thought it was a foul on Mbeumo. And I think maybe the referee looked at it like it was a foul on Mbeumo and I'm playing advantage and the game continues. I think afterwards, obviously, you've seen McAllister there. He's got a head injury, but I think the initial decision was, the initial reaction from the referee was, I couldn't really see the elbow hit McAllister's head.
OK. Well, let's then hear what Arne Slot had to say on the incident then.
We are not a team, which I see a lot in football, that go to the floor pretending if it's a head injury, so they kill the counter-attack. That's not who we are. We never go to the floor. We always are a fair team. So if a player of us is then on the floor, you would hope that everybody understands, oh, it's Liverpool, they don't do these kind of things, so let's blow a whistle.
Yeah, obviously adamant the whistle should have been blown. What is the solution? Because, why aren't we seeing a consistency here then, Dermot?
Well, we can only talk about this incident, and as I said, you look at this incident, is it a foul on McAllister? No, it's his own player. He catches him with his elbow, but we have to see that from behind the goal to see that. You see the sideways on, you don't see that. Michael Oliver, his first priority is it a foul? No. Ball gets transitioned, and it gets transitioned very, very quickly. That's what you have to remember. And his priority then is the next phase of football. They attack. The assistant, people say to me, he should see it. Well, he's also on that side. He's got to be going. Yeah, he's got to be going for the offside and such like. And within 5 seconds of that happening, ball's in the net. That's the first time anybody really sees it.
But as well, I genuinely think that Michael Oliver looks at this and says, it's a foul on Mbeumo. But then the ball's broke to a Man United player, and he's continued. He couldn't see that contact. I don't think anyone really saw it. We can see the contact because we're sitting at home, we're watching it, we see replays. But as it's happened at that speed, I just think that it was a right decision in the end.
And we see the contact, Jay, because we've seen 3-4 replays from different angles. Yeah. From the referee's angle, all he sees is it's not a foul on McAllister.
Yeah, at the end of the day, he's holding his head, he's gone down, I have a strong stance.
But he said there as well. Slot said there, we don't do that. He's opened up himself now for people. There's going to be memes on this because people are going to be posting Liverpool players going down all the time, holding their head. Like, we've seen that. We've seen players go down, clutching their head, clutching their legs, and they've barely been touched. So I bet you we're going to start seeing things now, especially in social media, where there'll be instances of Liverpool players going down, not really being hit hard. And, Slot said, we don't do that at Liverpool Football Club. Yeah. And I think it's going to happen. We're going to see that now.
Yeah, look, I get that. But earlier, obviously, I was asking about consistency because you want to see this consistency. And when you compare it to another incident, look at this. This is Fulham-Arsenal, Dermot.
Yeah, well, I think, Hayley, this is a totally different incident because if you look at the referee's got a clear view of it. He looks behind him. He's assessed in his head immediately. There might be a clash of heads here. He looks back, he sees him down, holding his head, and he stops play. There's a lot of difference in this. He's got time, he can see it, it's in his eye line. The ball doesn't break as quick. So there's a massive difference in this incident to the one the day after.
I agree on that one because I think with the Mbeumo one, they're literally going straight through on goal. It's like one pass out, one pass through his shot. On this one, he's looked at it and said, there's like 8 players behind the ball. It's going to be more of a slow build-up. So I have the opportunity to blow the whistle here.
My worry about Liverpool at the start of the season, it's not so much all the attacking plays, but if the mindset of everyone is always, we're going to be attacking, we've got this attacking play, we're going to be on the ball. People are always thinking about what happens when they're on the ball, and almost the defending bit becomes a bit like, do I have to do that? Do I have to track him back? Do I have to go and win a big header? I want to get on the ball, I want to play, we've got midfield players who all want to get on the ball. So I actually think sometimes Liverpool, now there's almost a mindset of not actually doing the dirty work. And you're talking about today, getting that point. That was definitely more the case in the 2 away games at Chelsea, Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace battered Liverpool. They got a goal late on Liverpool. That's like, get out of there with your point. It's a tough place to go. Could have been 3-0 down at half time. Great point. So away at Chelsea, got beat there last season. You got back to 1-1. You don't get beat. That's the thing that frustrates me in terms of the experience on the pitch and the players they have on the pitch. You've won, not just last season, but won numerous trophies over these last
Have they lost that pride in defending? We talk about teams that win titles. It's going, the foundations, obviously you need a top goalkeeper, be rock solid at the back. We look what Arsenal do now. But Liverpool looking at it going, do we need to do that bit? Because we've got so many options. We've got brilliant attack players. They're always a goal threat again. They could have scored 4 or 5 today, but they're getting caught out a little bit, almost become a bit more humble. And don't forget what you got that a bit of success. And that was been maybe rock solid at the back. You're going to give it 1 or 2 chances. But I think teams now are playing Liverpool, and now it's 4 games. They're going, mate, I think we've
Humble
got
is
chances.
exactly the word that
The
Van
problem
Dijk
is, though,
used.
Kelly, when you actually look at the team they ended up with 3 defensive-minded players: Kirkes, Konate, and Virgil van Dijk. Everyone else on that pitch is always thinking a little bit like what Gakpo's thinking when that corner comes in. If we get the ball, we might score. When Roy mentions about, like, you know, when he was there and he'd be in a defensive midfield player, OK, you go, I'll sit here. That's not in Jones. He's not inclined to do that. Wirtz is not inclined to do that. You end up with everybody else, all the 4 players. Ekitike, obviously, Isak was off the pitch at the time. Frimpong's not that player. Everyone's trying to win the game. There was not one player that's really going, OK, if we lose it in that midfield, what happens next? And that's where they got...
Great example. If you look at Arsenal last night, Arsenal, for all how brilliant they are, and when you get to the top of the league and you're thinking your confidence is sky, you look at Arsenal, when they lose the ball, forget about what they're doing in possessions. They've got really good players and they're brilliant at set pieces. It's what they're doing without the ball. They're hunting in packs. And they're like tactics right to win. They're just going to close people down. They're not getting bogged down by anything else. So look at Arsenal's success at the moment. There's still a lot to do for them. I know there's a long way to go. The bit of joy is coming from actually hunting the ball down, chasing it, pride, hunger. Have Liverpool lost that a little bit? I think they have.
They nearly had the chance to equalise. It fell to Cody Gakpo. We'll take a look at some of his other chances in a moment. But you want chances to come in the late stages of the game at 2-1 down, and you want them to fall to somebody maybe who's already scored in the game, who's shown that they're sharp in the game, and yet this happens.
Yeah, and listen, we're talking about games, but as we know, the small margins make a big difference. But he was Liverpool's best attacking player by a long way. Looked really dangerous, Liverpool did, especially in that first half, down that left side. And listen, Gakpo's been questioned quite a lot, this season. Because he's one of those players who, he's never going to be a superstar, but you know what you're going to get from him. He's going to get you a goal.
Is it because people are missing Luis Diaz? Is that maybe why?
Yeah, but I think him and Luis Diaz sort of almost flipped between who was playing wide left last season. This is Isak. He has to score that. He has to. And listen, we can talk about the system, how Liverpool are mentally, tactics, but players miss chances like that. It's going to come back and haunt you. And Liverpool, as I said, more often than not, in a game in this situation, as the manager said, they end up in the back net, you win the game, and we're talking totally different, and that's the nature.
That's the madness of football, isn't it?
That's why even if he makes the substitutions, we all say, God, that was genius. He threw all those players forward. That's what Alex Ferguson used to do. He's gambled and he's won the game. Flip side is when it goes wrong, you lose. That's when you get question marks against maybe being too offensive.
And as I said, it's great gambling, of course, but you still got to make sure you don't give up on that.
And that's kind of the question over this performance. And looking, we looked at their match stats earlier, Jamie, and Liverpool way ahead in XG. I think I said earlier, Cody Gakpo's XG was higher than that of Manchester United, but they're quite blunt instruments in terms of looking at those moments where you're maybe an inch or 2 away from getting a goal, those small margins. It's more looking at the big picture for Liverpool, that we're trying to kind of widen it out and see where they can improve, because those moments will change over the course of the season.
Yeah, listen, a few games time they'll start going in, but when you're sort of saying Liverpool's stats are a lot better than Manchester United, they always were going to be before the game. Liverpool are a much better team than Manchester United, so it shouldn't be a case of we were unlucky, we look how many chances we had, or our XG was more, we had more touches in the back. You'd expect that. Liverpool are a much better team, as I said, than Manchester United. So if Manchester United were going to come to Anfield and win, it was going to be a little bit like that, maybe getting a late goal, getting a little bit of luck here and there. But Manchester United had chances in the first half, to go ahead. Liverpool are just not at the races at all defensively, and until they fix that, they can't win the league.